Here goes a list of 20 surprising kettlebell mistakes you're probably unaware of. Keep watching. I guarantee you some of these mistakes are happening in your kettlebell journey and you don't even know it. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe here. We're all about kettlebells. So if you are into kettlebells, like the video and consider subscribing. Number 1, you treat the kettlebell like a dumbbell. Let me ask you this question. If the kettlebell was designed to be used just the same as the dumbbell, then why even bother to buy one? The kettlebell has a very significant and unique aspect to it, and that is the ballistic element. So if you always train according to the standards of how you would do with a dumbbell, it's not a problem. Yes, you can do it, but maybe you're missing the most differentiating factor of what the kettlebell is and its benefits that it can provide you with. Number 2, you train like a bodybuilder. I come from the typical split type training, bodybuilding type style. And when I've switched to the kettlebell, I had to realize that you don't need one exercise for every muscle group. The kettlebell works completely different. In most cases, almost every most bang for your buck exercise works your full body. So we got to get rid of this mentality of trying to isolate every muscle group. Number 3, if you snatch too often. The snatch can be very taxing, and if you don't have the technique yet down pat, you maybe hurt yourself and hurt your palm skin. So you want to be careful, especially when you go all in with the snatch, maybe even with the clean, and maybe even with the swing. The ballistics in general, they're powerful, but you have to program those exercises wisely. Number 4 is a segue from number 3. You destroy your palm skin. Now listen. Yes, we can call them battle scars to some extent. Yet it's not the idea to continuously destroy your palm skin and hurt your skin intentionally. It is also not the idea, as far as I'm concerned, to tape your hands just to keep going, to be like, yeah, I gotta do it, I gotta push through, while you're killing yourself or you're killing your skin. It's not necessary, and it doesn't yield any additional benefits. Number 5, you're stuck in groupthink. Mea culpa. That was me as well. Now the funny thing is, actually, now that I'm looking back, Steve Carter, he taught me the way of the hybrid style. Even though he didn't coin it that way, I believe that's what it was. But I was very heavily leaning towards kettlebell sport. So I was kind of gravitating towards the idea that kettlebell sport is the way to go, and hardstyle is just an invention by Pavel, and we should all train in kettlebell sport, blah, 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 blah. Thank God I've opened up and embraced hardstyle and kettlebell sport, and that's why I believe it's such a powerful mixture now. That's what I call the hybrid style. If we are stuck in groupthink, we always listen to people who agree with us. And if we always listen to people who agree with us, we're not able to expand our minds. Number 6, you swing too far and you swing too wide. Now, when it comes to the ballistics, it is a very interesting aspect, because when we train with free weights, the idea of proper technique is to always make sure that the weight stays inside our center of mass. Otherwise, we create extra effort that is unnecessary. However, when you start swinging weights or you start engaging in the ballistics with kettlebells, then of course you will go outside your center of mass. But you want to make sure that you don't go too far out and wide, because this will put you off balance. It'll make the movement feel clunky, and the kettlebell will always feel like your enemy. So don't go too far and too wide, but don't stay too tight. There is a very beautiful sweet spot. Number 7, you crash your forearms and your skin takes on these beautiful rainbow colors. Let me tell you, the hand insertion is your solution. Understanding the looping mechanics, understanding the swinging mechanics, understanding the trajectory of the kettlebell, that you don't want it to loop, but you want it to travel upwards so you can spirit This is a proper hand insertion, not grabbing it too hard, not ripping it and gripping it, but having a smooth and nice transition and making sure that the weight does not go too far out and wide, but stays close. This is a hand insertion, and if you are able to perfect this hand insertion, I can guarantee you that the forearm crashing will stop. Number 8, you are impatient. The kettlebell is a unique training tool, and you've probably never done a swing in your life. You've probably never done a clean in your life, at least with something that is round, a bell-shaped object or a snatch. So everything that you do with the kettlebell will feel unnatural because you're not used to it. There's no routine. So you have to be patient. Engage in the philosophy that I call the death of 1,000 cuts. Thousands and thousands and thousands of reps invested into this one exercise to perfect it to a level where routine starts happening, and then you will melt with the kettlebell. But this will take some time. Number 9, you follow the burn mentality. Listen, I think CrossFit has done a great benefit to the fitness world because the competition aspect is something that I like. I like the aspect of using compound movements. One thing that I don't like about CrossFit is this idea of this perpetuating burn mentality. So that means if I'm already dying, the workout is only starting. There's stuff like my warm-up is your workout and stuff like this. I don't like that aspect because in most cases, we don't even need to go there. This doesn't mean that high intensity is not something that's cool. I personally like high intensity. I adopt the term that I call high skill intensity. I want to follow high intensity as long as I can still work with a beautiful technique and make sure that the skill level is high. So if you keep burning yourself, you probably not only increase the chance of getting hurt and injuring yourself, but you're always doing too much that you probably don't even have to. Number 10, you don't master the lifts. Clean and press or jerk, snatch, long cycle, swing. These exercises take a lot of time to master. You won't be able to master these lifts, who, by the way, give you the most bang for your buck. If you do 20 exercises per workout with different rep ranges, different weights, different volume, you're gonna go crazy. Your brains will explode. Instead of jumping around between thousands of exercises or always looking for the next trend on YouTube or social or Instagram, stick to the basics. Number 11, your exercise selection is off. There are a couple of rules that you want to follow when you program your workout. One of those rules is, for example, I want to engage into a pulling exercise, pushing exercise, squatting exercise, hinging exercise. I want to carry some stuff and maybe work with my rotation, anti-rotation. Now, if you follow these human movement patterns, then this is how you build your workout. So for example, if we do a press and then we do a lying chest press and then we do a jerk, then yes, you have your upper body work, but maybe your lower body is missing. So always think about the exercise selection as something that includes everything. Number 12, you don't lift with your hips. Now, we've talked about that the kettlebell feels a little bit unnatural when you pick it up for the first time. So what people do is in the ballistics, they use their arms too much. And when they do deadlifts, for example, they use their back too much. Avoid engaging in extra effort, unnecessary effort, or movement patterns that are outright dangerous. Always focus your power, your strength, your lifting, your acceleration, the explosiveness in your hips, because this is where your true strength is. Number 13, you ignore proper mobility. Now, being flexible and being mobile when you train with the kettlebell is key, yet many people are not aware of it. And then they're like, well, this exercise doesn't feel right, so either I am stupid or the kettlebell is stupid. And then they maybe miss out on the fact that they're lacking proper mobility. If you want to do overhead movements, you need upper body mobility. If you want to do lower body movements, you need great hip mobility. And let me tell you one thing, most people are tight in their hips and in their shoulders. So make sure you free out those joints, those ligaments, those muscles before you engage them. I love what Pavel says in the book Simple and Sinister. He says, Being flexible and being mobile means taking the brakes off your muscles or your strength. Number 14, you don't get proper coaching. Now, you watch YouTube videos, awesome. You watch this video, awesome. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But you know what is even more efficient than just watching a video? Getting proper coaching. I can tell you from the talks with these experts that I have on this channel, as well as from the experience that we have with our clients. Most people, 99%, never engage in the 100% proper lifting mechanics if it hasn't been taught to them. Because even if you watch a video, some details are always left out. There are some so-called secrets when it comes to kettlebell training. So if you have the means and if you have the chance, go talk to a coach who can really give you the benefit of one-to-one coaching so you can take a shortcut. Number 15, you mix up kettlebell sizes. I'm talking about the size of the kettlebell. Now watch this. This is a competition kettlebell. Now I believe training with competition kettlebells is one of the best things that you can do. The smaller ones are cast iron kettlebells. They're not bad. You can train with them as well. But there's one thing that you want to follow and that you want to understand is when you train with cast iron kettlebells, the bigger they are, the heavier they are, the more they change in size and diameter. And structure of the competitions, they always stay the same. Doesn't matter if it is a 8 kilo like this one, a 32, a 48, or a 16. So if you mix up those sizes, you maybe get it confused. Decide for one, and of course I'm a little biased, so if you want to really jump into it, I believe jumping into kettlebell training with competitions is one of the best things that you can do. Number 16, you're starting too light. Now I believe you don't have to start with anything that's below 8 kilogram. Women, you start with 8 kilogram kettlebells. Males, men, you start with a 12 kilogram kettlebell. You need some form of weight to give you good instructions. Pavel even says this. Heavy weights are instructive. I say heavy weights are a good teacher. Doesn't mean that you have to jump into heavy stuff in the first time you pick up a kettlebell. But if you pick up weight that is too light, then you always start moving it with your arms instead of transporting the weight with your hips and using your most dominant, your biggest muscles, which is your legs. Number 17, the other spectrum. You're starting too heavy. We have gotten messages from people who said, I've hurt myself starting with a 20 kilogram kettlebell or even a 16 kilogram kettlebell. Now, that's why I believe using a proper weight is so crucial. Because if you choose weight that is too heavy, even though it is instructive, because you don't have the proper coaching, the weight is not very forgiving if you climb up those numbers. So make sure you use the proper weight in order not to hurt yourself and to really discover the kettlebell and have fun with it. Number 18, you don't respect the weight. Pavel calls it like this. He says, treat the kettlebell like it's loaded. That's one of the rules when you handle weapons or firearms. Now with kettlebells, it's the same. I do not care whether you pick up an 8 kilogram, a 12, a 16, or a 32, or 48. I respect them all the same. I would even go a step further and say, you gotta respect the weight, not just the kettlebell, the weight. Because an 8 kilogram kettlebell can hurt you just as much as a 48 kilogram kettlebell. Maybe not as hard or maybe not as intense, but it may hurt you if you have reached a level where you have been engaging in the wrong movement patterns for so long that maybe it only needs a little shove and boom, you hurt yourself. Number 19, you don't breathe properly. Breathing is one of the most important aspects when you train with kettlebells, because with kettlebells, the training is conditioning. It is strength and cardiovascular at the same time. So you have to understand how to breathe. For example, I would engage in a form of power breathing. Understanding the power breathing means that you can use your lungs and your diaphragm like a pump and then really throw out the used air and get some nice unused air in, free and new oxygen to be able to support you and to support you not only with the oxygen but also with some sort of rhythm when you work with a kettlebell. And I also love what Pavel says. He says your brain is like the music player, your muscle is the loudspeaker, and your breathing is the volume knob. Number 20, you don't listen to your body. I do not care what any type of coach is telling you. You shouldn't even listen to me if your body is telling you something different. Now, could it be that your body signals are off? Yes, of course. Then you maybe need some instruction. But in many cases, when we start training with people, and mind you, we have experience with real people, every time I always ask, how did it feel? Because your body's reaction is crucial. And I guarantee you, when you start learning and training with kettlebells, there are a couple of moments where you will engage in the proper mechanics, where everything comes together, boom, and your body will give you the proper signal. Bonus mistake, you trust social media stunts more than the basics or experts. Now mind you, the kettlebell has traveled a long way. From scale weights, to the circus, to juggling, to strongman, to what it is now. So there are folks who engage in those circus acts because this is their method, this is their mastery. This is different, or even the old school strongman stuff. This is completely different. Yet sometimes you see stuff on social where people just do it for the gram, or they do it for attention. Be careful. If you're not sure about a new exercise that you've seen, always stick to the basics. If you're not sure, if you're confused, if you have more insights, you've done your research and now you understand it, that's a different case. And one thing that is so crucial that stuck with me is when you see those funny stunts, most of the time these people are using light weights. And let me tell you one thing. I want to paraphrase what the great Ed Cohn said. He says, anybody can lift light weights with bad form. The world of kettlebells is dominated by two training styles called hardstyle and kettlebell sport. Although vastly different in nature, they have been proven to work and give you the most bang for your buck whenever you pick up a kettlebell, if you understand them correctly and are able to differentiate between the two. If you are a beginner, this task might be understandably confusing. Enter the hybrid style and discover how to combine the best of both worlds. The hybrid style masterclass is a 10-week practice-based online course that will help you take your kettlebell skills to an elite level, made in Switzerland. Learn what's been holding you back and how to become a versatile kettlebell master without having to piece together countless YouTube videos or rely on a gym membership. The price of the hybrid style masterclass is $397 per month for 3 months. Save 20% with a one-time payment of $997. We'll open registration only to a small number of new students every 3 months. Join the waiting list now to get access 24 hours before the general public. Link is in the description.